Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Section 214 BC Lions podcast. I'm here with my friends once again, JS and Hammer. And, before we get into talking about the Lions beating the Calgary Stampeders 23-17, I think it was
26 to 17.
26 to 17. Yeah, I don't feel
Late field goal.
Yeah. Before we get into that game, we do have some extra things to talk about. One thing happened way before this game on Tuesday, in terms of my experience with something else, and of course, Hammer here was at the game for the season opener.
Yes, I was.
Opener, yeah. And he's going to talk about his experience, and also I'm going to throw in some video clips that he provided us after this recording's done. So
Tell me what you guys are watching.
yeah. So yeah, we'll do that, and then we'll talk about we'll also briefly talk about the prior CFL game results. So that was Ottawa beating Winnipeg, and then Montreal beating Edmonton.
Good results for your West team.
Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely.
good results for us for sure. Yeah, out of town W's combined with our W is great.
The East Division is perfect against the West Division so far this season. When do we ever say that?
Wouldn't say that like any other year.
We never say it. We never
Actually,
really say
false.
that
It's
much.
not. It's not.
Oh,
Correction.
no.
The one loss was Hamilton against Calgary.
Yeah, damn it,
Four
Calgary.
and one. Still, not perfect, but a lot better than usual previous seasons.
Is the year we get an East crossover?
Please make that happen. Please,
so
as long as
funny.
the Lions don't pay because of it.
Oh yeah.
No, I mean, no matter what, the crossovers will the crossover results. I mean, as long as it's us hosting it and not us going over to the East, right?
Oh boy, that would not be good.
Yeah,
Not worked out in the past.
But yeah, anyways, so yeah, we'll go through the game. We'll go through our gut reaction, and then go through the stats of the game, and some surprising stats actually. And then we'll do the game recap, and then we'll end it off with talking about next week's massive pivotal game against the Blue Bombers.
Huge.
And of course and then the rest of the league for week 3, and of course tomorrow's game, which is the Saskatchewan at Hamilton. So got a lot to talk about. So for yeah, we got a lot to talk about for today. So I guess we'll go over to Hammer to talk about his opening game experience.
Yeah.
No.
You said we got a lot to talk about today, and we have a lot of better things to talk about because we won the game. We won the opener. It was a great experience. Yeah, I'm sure we're all more happier than last episode.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I went to the home opener. It was a great experience. 50 Cent was there. 50,000 people were there. It was packed, first of all. I'll play the first clip. I got to the plaza at about 2 o'clock. So that's 2 hours before kickoff, 1 hour before the 50 Cent concert. But 50 Cent didn't start playing until 3:20. Yeah, so I was there.
And TSN also didn't really play the 50 Cent.
They showed a few small short clips, but nothing significant. Like in last year, or was the year before when One Republic was there? They played basically the entire concert on TSN, and I remember I was at the game and getting texts from Discord, people saying, "When is the game going to start? When is the game going to start?"
You guys are asking me this game.
We were, yeah.
But you said that delayed kickoff a bit.
Yeah, the kickoff wasn't until about 4:30.
Yeah, about half an hour in, and yeah.
Today's kickoff was about 4:20, around there.
Nice.
But they warned us beforehand. You asked me when I was in there, and they had a timer going on, just counting down the kickoff. So I got to the stadium. I got to Terry Fox Plaza, and it was already super busy. Pretty hard to navigate the area, as you can see in the video. It's just stuff going on, face painting, stuff for kids. And then the real attraction was the block party. And for once today, it was all ages. Usually the street party is 18 plus. They got beer and stuff there. So you gotta have a wristband if you're 18 plus, so you're eligible to buy beer, show ID. I didn't have to because I'm not 18 yet. Walked in, huge crowd of people. There was a band on stage. I think it's called the Famous Players Band. They're not a notable band, but they're live music. They're playing a lot of mainstream songs, the
They
ones you
could be a
hear.
cover band, right? That's
It could
common
be.
in yeah, that's common in most sporting experiences. I remember when I went to the Seattle Kraken and Montreal Canadiens game with my dad as a birthday present for him. I saw like a Pink Floyd cover band. So same dealio, right? I
Hmm?
should probably be a cover band most likely.
Yeah. I looked at their Instagram and they're playing at weddings and stuff. They were good. I don't have much to say about them. And
Hey, I wouldn't mind a BC Lions themed wedding.
um third clip, I'm just showing a panorama of the area. You can see it is packed. And the street party took up once the whole street. I don't even remember the names, but there were people just packed throughout there.
Beatty
Um
Street or
the one between BC Place and then the next one. I can't remember. I go there so often, I should know this.
I
They had
should
lots
notice
of,
too, right?
yeah. They had lots of food trucks. They had merchandise out there. It was like burger truck, taco truck, and like lots of different companies just giving out free stuff.
Mm,
Free stuff that I got and everyone could have got. So a rally towel. We got a rally towel
Nice.
season
I'm
kickoff.
jealous.
I am
I
so
know.
jealous. I
It was
want
so
those.
cool. I don't think anyone in the stadium was really in spirit. I was the only one in my vicinity that was waving it around after big plays. So
Yeah, you know what's funny though? I remember when I was a kid, well, the Lions did still do one they did street parties back then obviously too,
mhm.
but when I was a kid, you, you're never gonna get this again, but I used to, grab a demo disc for PS2 games, right? Because they used to give those out. You know,
Demos.
I used to get like yeah, I used to get PS2 demo disc, right? Just to play on my PS2. That's how dated when I thought that really shows how old I am, right? Like I just remember going to street parties and getting like PS2 disc for
Oh,
free for demo games. Like I think the one game I got was I want to say was the Sly games with a yeah Slider Raccoon. It was a game where you're feeding raccoon and you have a bunch of allies with you that just those are some fun games, right?
it's
So
interesting.
yep.
Yeah, in my time, PS5 or PS4 or whatever, I didn't play console games very much. But you just go in the store, play the demo, and buy the game. This was a bit different for you than it was
Yeah,
back
it's
then.
different for me. Yeah, there were no such thing as DLC. There was just I had to,
Oh yeah.
if I wanted to play a game, I had to get like a demo disc from a retailer or from street parties, right? Yeah.
It'd be like an exclusive thing.
Mhm.
So my fourth clip here. After I spent about half an hour in the street party, I wasn't doing very much because my friend hadn't made it to the game yet. He got there right before the 50 Cent concert began. I got into Terry Fox Plaza, started walking towards the left, and it was pretty hard to navigate. There's a lot of people there. Um, Overall, the next clip is when, so at BC Place, if you look at an overhead of it, there's like rings of walkways around it where the ticket checks are, and they're pretty wide walkways. And then along the Terry Fox Plaza, there's basically two bridges onto the walkway. And here I am standing there. I can't move. No one could move because people were going in two directions. And it was right behind where gate A was. And that's where I realized I had to turn around because no one was getting through there. There were so many people. And this was at about 2:30, 1.5 hours before kickoff, but 30 minutes before everyone wanted to get inside for the 50 Cent concert. I turned around, headed to gate H, which was on the right of Terry Fox Plaza, and it was crowded. Like I could not move for a solid little while.
Uh-huh.
And it took me 10 minutes to get through that gate.
What a great feeling, huh?
Yeah, it is a pretty good feeling. And I did have my fast pass, which was a bag. So I got to go through the bag check line.
There you go.
Yeah, I
Seventh
imagine
clip.
it would
Yeah.
be sorry. I imagine it would be hell for me to get through because
Oh yeah.
massive wheelchair just like tanking through the crowd and just trying not to run anyone over. Uh,
Do you get a special entrance for that, or?
yeah, there is for yeah most gates. There's a special wheelchair entrance, but when it
Right.
comes to going up and down the ramps, I mean, I have to be careful, right? Especially going down, because
Oh,
the traction on my wheels aren't very good, so I have to be careful about going down, lest I be having assault charges or just.
no. I guess
uh,
if you're in Rogers Arena, you'd use the elevator, but in BC Place, everyone uses the ramps. So,
Most people use the ramps, and yeah, my experiences too. That's I've seen. I don't really see people use the elevators too much. It's always going outside the gates, straight from the ramps.
yeah.
So yeah, uh, imagine it was the
Um,
same for you.
yeah, my seventh clip here, it's just when I was halfway down the ramp, you can see there's a large crush of people going through the gates, and it was moving pretty efficiently later on. This was another one. I think it was a gate that was going much smoother than the others, Terry Fox Plaza, where there's a lot of people. Um, Eighth clip, I didn't take many onwards from this, but here's one of the 50 Cent concert. Um, I thought the concert was good. I'm not in the rap, so that's a bit of a disclaimer. But the crowd was really into it. There's a lot of people on the field, and I think the stadium was about three-quarters full by the time he started. Um, I don't know, rap is not my thing. I think the songs are only good in the first 30 seconds. And there was something with his mic, so I couldn't really hear half the stuff he was saying. But at the end, when all of the songs that I'd obviously heard, it was a really good show. And as
Yeah,
soon as
did you hear any vulgarities or just like any bad like swears, or was it just
a lot of
did you really?
N-words, I mean, no, that's the lyrics of his songs. Um,
Yeah, I imagine that was why TSN didn't really show the content.
Maybe, yeah,
Yeah, it
because
would
I
just
Yeah,
be
think,
that's a good
constantly
idea.
silence, right? Just
yeah, I think LL Cool J had a few of those in his, but you were talking about how One Republic was on screen at TSN. So there, yeah. The concert was good. I liked
Mhm.
it. I'm not really into rap, so that said something. Um, and then my final clip here is the kickoff. The game started. I do want to say, I was t telling my friend before the game, I'm like, lower bowl is probably all the Lions fans. The upper bowl is probably all the 50 Cent fans. And all the upper bowl people were wearing black shirts. And when they zoomed into a bunch of them, they were black 50 Cent shirts. And I'm like, I think I see who's up there. So by halftime of the game, I think about three-quarters of the people in the upper bowl had left, which was a bit disappointing.
That's
But
disappointing.
almost everybody in the lower bowl stayed throughout the whole game. And it's always like this, that all the Lions fans, the season ticket holders are down there. All the people who got tickets first before someone who
The
wanted to go
cheaper
to,
tickets, yeah.
yeah, $20 concert in the upper bowl. So that was my experience. As far as the game goes, we'll talk about that later, but I thought it was a good game. The crowd was into it. Um, and I thought it was not as exciting as the score line would suggest, but it was a good game. It came out with a win. Yeah.
There you go. We'll get into that.
We noticed the crowd noise at times too. It was well, during watching the TV broadcast of it. I mean, that's the great thing about this podcast too, is that we'll have you Hammer, just you at the game most of the time, just and we'll corroborate if the crowd was as loud or as quiet as you experienced it. I just
Yeah.
Oh,
Especially in big
we could
catches,
tell
of
it was
course.
loud. Yeah.
oh yeah. So
That
yeah, I
one
mean,
fumble. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, we'll get to the really smart fumble recovery and the game recap too, but yeah, I guess I'll talk about my Tuesday, how my Tuesday went earlier. Um, I wanted to go see something called the BC Lions on Tap, which is a radio program that CKNW does every Tuesday nights for Lions games. Like they go to pubs and they do recordings of post game reactions, much like we do here. Okay, except it's more professional. They have
We'll get there.
better recording equipment and video. Or yeah, recording equipment. Yeah, but yeah, I wanted to because they were doing it in New West last Tuesday, right? So I mean it's near me. I mean Port Moody, and you could take the SkyTrain from Burquitlam to New West in about 20 minutes, right? So I thought, oh, I could do that, right? So um I wanted to, listen to them and, talk with the hosts there and just to get some pointers on how to, you know,
Yeah.
do get some pointers on how to, improve our a little thing we got going on here. But anyways, I was under the impression that they were going to go to the Hops pub in New West, which is very near the New West SkyTrain station. It's
And
only
Douglas
like a
College.
and Douglas College, which is I'm an alum there, and Hammer's going to go to there pretty soon. So that's
Exciting.
yeah, yeah. I was under the impression that they were going to have it at Hops Pub. I left my house 2 hours before they were scheduled to do a recording. So they were supposed to start the recording at 8, so I left the house at 6. And unbeknownst to me, they actually changed. Well, I mean, first of all, they went to the Hops Pub, and then they kind of just changed their mind, and then they decided to go down the street, down 6th Street to the an Irish pub, the Kelly O'Brien pub. Um, of course, I didn't know this. I didn't know about this change because I left as soon as they kind of announced the change of venue. So that was that was that was brutal at first, and then I mean, I got to the Hops pub. I asked the waitress there. I asked, I mean, where's the on tap guys? And they said, oh, they kind of just got there and then they just changed their mind on it. And I guess, I mean, the pub itself is a pretty small space. I imagine the recording equipment might have been an issue getting set up there. That's my guess as to why they
Yeah.
changed. I mean, I asked. I mean, I tried asking around. I mean, saying like, why did you change the venue? And I didn't get an answer. But hopefully, I can get an answer
Yeah.
from the. Yeah, hopefully, I can get an answer from the host the next time I try it. So
When's
that'll be
that?
July 2nd.
Oh.
So yeah, of course I'm kicking myself for because after realizing that they weren't going to be setting up at Hops Pub, I kind of just immediately just decided I'm just going to go home, right? Because I tried checking Twitter, the Twitter, and my phone could not update uh the VC Lions tweets past 2021, weirdly enough, right? So
Jeez.
um yeah, I just decided to immediately go home, and then like after the fact, I was kicking myself for not thinking like, okay, I gotta ask my friends if they've changed it, like where have they changed it to, right? I could have done like so many things to really be able to, rectify, the change in menu problem. Like, I could have just done a bunch of things just to go down there anyways, but I just decided that I'm just gonna go home immediately. Right? Just uh so it's kind of a
Unfortunate
waste
string
of
of
a trip.
events. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not gonna make that same mistake next time.
Mhm.
So
I hope they don't have to change it next time because that's it's a bummer.
Yeah.
And they were also
yeah.
nearby and you didn't know that. But yeah.
Yeah, they were down the block, right? Like I could have walked 5 minutes down to that Kelly O'Brien's pub, right? And just didn't know they were gonna go there, right? It changed venue as soon as I left, right? That's really unfortunate. Uh yeah, so yeah, that's a long preamble aside. I guess we can get to the game now. But yeah, I guess for our I mean for our gut reaction for the game, I mean for me and JS sitting at home, I mean, we were watching the game. I mean, when we fought the first half, I mean, it could have gotten out of hand pretty quickly, right? Considering how terribly the O-line was playing.
I mean,
But
yeah, that was like during my game, I kept my own game notes. I know we talked about it last time. I wrote about 2,700 words of notes for the last game. This game was 2,100 words of notes, so I got a little bit more concise this time, which is good. But
mhm,
during my game, I take notes about most of the plays, and when key plays come up, I put them in bold. So I know that this is what I
mm,
want to talk about for the podcast. The first note I have in bold is quite literally these words: O-line looking terrible. And that was
Sums it up.
2 plays into the game. O-line looking terrible.
Oh
That
yeah,
is my first immediate reaction. It was
Yeah.
the first
that was also my
the first
immediate
quarter of the
reaction
first
too.
half, frankly, the offensive line was awful.
I'll
And
reference my friend at the game as James, but we were watching the game. We knew last game the O-line was terrible. So we had our eyes on the O-line for the first three drives, and they were not good for the first three drives. That's
No,
like three and out for the first, two and out for the first three drives.
yeah, 2-0,
it
yeah.
was really not good.
They did get better, much better in the second half, right? Like they and I guess I mean, part of this is then going to be in the stats read, but one of the surprising things that I took away from looking at the stats after the game from the CFL website was the O-line did not allow a sack.
That's
As
Yeah.
hard to
bad as they
believe.
played in that first half, it was hard to believe,
It
but
sure didn't feel like it.
it didn't feel like it. Like there could have been 1 or 2 sacks really, but I mean, yeah, I I do. I mean, as bad as the online play in the first half, I do give credit for them for Rick Campbell and certainly the online coordinator to make adjustments
Make the
after the
halftime
halftime,
adjustments.
right?
Like
Yeah.
in our group chat, we were talking, but I was saying, if this play keeps up and they don't continue and they don't get better soon, we're gonna call for somebody's head in like the next
Mm.
episode or the episode after that. If this doesn't change, we're gonna say you need to fire somebody. But so credit for them to go into the locker room at halftime and make whatever adjustments are needed. They didn't. I don't think they took any holding penalties, or maybe one in the whole game. And then in the second half, there weren't nearly as many hurries as before. So I give them a lot of credit for that.
Yeah, I did. I also, although a concerning thing was that Adams had been getting like he'd been getting hit in the chest a few times, right? And he
Mhm.
did get up a little gingerly in one of the almost sacks, right? And kind of he was looking at his rib, and I thought, oh God, I hope he doesn't have a broken rib or
Yeah.
anything like that.
That would be nice. Like I think he'll be okay. But early on in the game, it was really wearing this head shades of Michael Riley in 2021. I think we mentioned it
Ooh.
last week, where he was getting beat up on every single play, and I was like, oh my
Yeah,
goodness, Adams is gonna
wouldn't
get hurt if he keeps getting pressure. Like, because eventually, there's gonna be a late roughing the passer where he gets chopped down below the knees, and that's gonna cause an injury, or somebody's gonna have a blow to his head, and that's gonna cause an injury, or any number of things, right? And
Yeah, it's just we're just always paranoid about quarterback injuries, considering how the overall quality of O-line play hasn't been that great. I mean, even the past 2 years. I mean, again, see, we had two pretty good seasons. I mean, but even then, the O-line was pretty suspect, right? It's
Yeah.
been suspect for a lot longer. I mean, again, and it's killed us in the Winnipeg Western Conference Finals
Yeah.
often, right? Just work, Adams doesn't matter. Just
I wasn't able to
um,
talk in the group chat throughout the game because I was obviously at the game. But Jacob, he texted me at halftime and he asked, "What are my thoughts so far?" And the first thing I said was the first quarter was obviously terrible. Um, and it was after that when we started gaining the momentum. And I think the O-line got a little stronger, but Adams kind of saved himself on some of the plays. Like there was one play that Adams made where he escaped three players and made a 20-yard run.
which
for a
that was
first down.
amazing.
Yeah, that was amazing.
Yeah,
That's when the
I
momentum really started.
I know. When he escaped those three Calgary defenders, I mean, I didn't think that was going to be a first down. I thought it was going to be a second and three at
Yeah.
best, right? But no,
I
again, it's
want to
just
see him
kind
use
of
his legs more
yeah.
when he
Ed
can.
likes he's a
Also
good
give the
mobile
ball more to
quarterback.
Aberhart.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I said
Uh,
in our first episode that this is going to be his season because he's going to get more opportunity, and they've not been giving him the opportunity. But when he does, you pointed it out to us, Ascent. I don't know what his average is, probably like 50 yards per catch.
50 yards per catch. He's not allowed. I'm going to probably repeat this every game. I mean, he's not allowed to get more than one catch, and it's
Mhm.
always got to be a clutch catch that goes for massive yardage, right? It's
So
He made a great play.
last game he was 1 for 1 for 27 yards, and this game he was 1 for 1 with 59 yards.
Well, when he gets the ball, he makes big plays, and that's what we want out of any of these players.
Can't replace this guy.
Yeah,
No, you
I kind of
can't.
said jokingly, that, one of these days he's gonna get like a 99-yard end of game winning touchdown, and it'll be like the Minneapolis Miracle, except it's CFL version.
Book
I'm
it.
like,
Clutch player.
yeah. So yeah, I mean that's, I mean we'll get more into the nitty gritty of this game for sure. I mean, yeah. So we'll just start out with.
Yes,
I'll just start
any
out
other
with
reactions that I would
Well,
have? I guess probably
this was a much better game than the Toronto game. Absolutely, like
absolutely the Lions played
on
a
all
lot better.
fronts.
It was
Well,
less, what's the word? There's less excitement to this game. Like even though the score was tied for most of it, it wasn't really a whole lot of edge on your seat stuff as much.
because
except
we had
for
a
the
lot of
fourth
two and
quarter,
outs.
Except for
yeah.
the fourth quarter was
Yes.
great. But it was
Mhm.
just a little bit less exciting, But I guess one thing that I can say overall, the crowd I was very impressed with. They sounded really loud throughout the game. There was a couple of times where the crowd clearly had an impact on Calgary's play. There was a time where the Stamps had to take a timeout because they couldn't get the play off because the crowd was too loud, they couldn't hear it. And I love that kind of stuff when that happens.
And a few procedure calls as
Few
well. I
procedure
mean,
calls.
procedures are yeah.
Calgary player number 60, he was penalized twice for procedure. So clearly they're doing something right there. And then, yeah, overall, good to see the fans into it, even if, some of them didn't stay past the concert, good for the
Some
ones
of
who
them are
did
only
show up
50
making a
Cent
difference.
fans. Yeah.
There was even a guy on the Bout episode who quite literally brought a trumpet into the
Yeah.
stands.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
thought that was wild.
yeah. We saw on the TV. Well, I mean, on the TV broadcast, we saw some fans. They bought like an actual trumpet and a trombone. Which, hey, I love trombones.
It's not like a
I
little
played
plastic
it.
horn.
I love it at a Lions game.
Yeah.
I
It
love
totally
it.
works.
Like my dad and I had this vuvuzela horn for a long
Oh no,
time,
don't.
and then we lost it after one game, and a few years later I bought him another one, and we love it, but it's just a cheap little horn. It's not like an actual trumpet. Where
No.
somebody brought in a full like band class trumpet into the stadium, and I loved it.
Yeah, I appreciate that as a former music student myself too. It's um and
Also,
also I also I mean when we're talking about kind of trinkets for fans, I mean Hammer, you have the foam finger with you in the background. I noticed.
yeah, I was
Yeah,
in
Yeah.
downtown 2 days ago on Thursday night, and I just got out of Vancouver City Center Station, and the Uproar Dance team was there. They set up a tent right outside London Drugs, one of their sponsors, and I just walked there and I talked to them for a moment, and they were just there giving away free stuff. So I mentioned I was a season ticket holder. They loved it, so they gave me a free foam finger, a few free stickers, which I'll put them on my laptop soon. They gave me cards just promoting the home opener, which I think by then all the tickets had sold out, so that wouldn't have been relevant to me. Or it wasn't relevant to me anyway, because
mm,
I already had a ticket. But it's cool. I mean, yesterday they were at the Bentall Center, and it was BC Lions Week. So throughout the week, they were at various places around Vancouver, just promoting themselves. And this is the effect of Omar Doman as our owner. He's done a great job. I also want to talk about, you guys were talking about crowd noise, and I agree with that. I was there. The crowd was really hype at times when the offense wasn't dead. There was
mm,
one play, one play where we made a big fumble with I think 4 minutes left, where one of our guys batted it out of bounds for BC.
touchdown, yeah, with
Something like
Woods.
that.
Yeah.
And then just quite a few plays, big throws and touchdowns. The crowd was really loud, really into it. Um, as loud as it
Yeah.
normally is. I mean, I don't know how much the upper deck contributed to it, but we had all the diehard Lions fans in the lower bowl. The guys who are normally here were all loud, so
Well,
it
I
was
hope
great.
once the Grey Cup is there in November, the upper bowl will be allowed to.
Yeah.
Just one final
Yeah.
reaction. I have to say this. It's kind of a nerd thing, but right at the end of the game, the broadcast showed a guy wearing an orange clone trooper helmet from Star
Oh, yeah,
Wars.
for Star Wars.
And
Yeah.
Suter and Nielsen were talking about it. They said, and one of them said, "What kind of Star Wars costume is that?" And the other guy says, "I might get heat for this in line, but that's not a Star Wars costume. It is a Star Wars costume. It's a clone trooper costume. It is clearly a Star Wars costume. You guys are wrong."
I don't think Glenn Sudo's really watched too many Star Wars movies. I mean, not like me. Well, I haven't watched too many Star Wars movies. I've watched prequels and the prequels and the original trilogy, right?
But at
that was
least you
about
would have
it,
known
right?
what that was.
Yep, I would. I know what that is. Yeah, I've also played a couple of Star Wars games on
Yeah, me too.
PSP. Played the Rise. No, it was kind of like an kind of like a different plot line kind of game. But yeah, it was. Yeah, I'm at least aware about Star Wars enough to know like that's a clone trooper.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I just had to say, I know it has nothing to do with football, but I just had to say it because, yeah, I could go on a whole rant about that, but that's for another time.
Yeah, man. I mean, I also want to say before we get into the stats, I mean,
Can I
during
cover
the
the line
halftime,
stats?
yeah, well, yeah, before I get into that, Kate Burness on TSN, it's funny because the first few sentences that she when the halftime came about, she did talk about the O line, right? And I'm like, oh, that's the first thing that we all see with our eyes. It's like, oh man, the O-line is not good today. But yeah, and yeah. Anyways, so further statistics. So for the BC Lions, so Vernon Adams. I mean, the audit is down from last week. So he went 17 for 29, so 70 catches for 29 attempts, and then 2 touchdowns and no interceptions, which is
All things
great.
considered, that's pretty good.
I
Yep.
think his only bad throws were at the beginning of the game, and then he
When he
really
was being hurried and pressured, and there were a few that were almost intercepted, but like that's not even really his fault when he's being hurried. Sebastian just wants to get it out.
yep. He locked
Yeah.
in afterwards.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he had 9.6 yards per average per throw, and also chipped in with like 11 yards rushing yards on the times that he ran forward, especially on the
2 touchdowns.
the crazy one. uh, and of course there was. I mean, I might as well mention this here, but I found it funny that yeah, but yeah, but the CFL website, yeah, they did. Yeah, there was one play. I mean, I forgot which quarter it was, but yeah, I
He was
mean,
in the third quarter.
Adams. Yes, yeah, Adams threw the ball, it deflected up in the air, and then he caught the ball, and then he took it and ran for 4 yards. And I put LOL at the end of it because it counted that and it was in the receiving stats, right? So,
Well, I guess what choice do they have? Like he threw a forward pass, so it's going to be a catch, and he caught it, so he has to be the receiver. I mean, they don't really have a
yeah,
choice that they can record. It just looks funny. Vernon Adams pass caught by Vernon Adams.
yeah, yeah. I didn't know the CFL would, consider that as like a receiving stat for a
Yeah, here
quarterback.
we go.
Like
I
you could
found
do
it here.
that, right?
I'll read the CFL's play-by-play of this, which says Vernon
Yeah.
Adams Jr. pass complete short left to number 3 Vernon Adams Jr. caught at Calgary 32. There you go.
Shades of
I know.
Andrew Luck in the playoffs.
And Marcus Mariota against the Chiefs.
Yeah.
He actually caught his own bat for a touchdown, right?
There
So
Both
was
against the
probably
Chiefs, damn.
I hope we see something like that. Well, I mean, it might not be with the Lions, but it might be a
Yeah.
CFL game where it's like, yeah, that's gonna happen.
And
Right?
the D line
Crazy
doesn't
stuff
necessarily
happens.
expect the quarterback to catch the ball again, so that's why he gets so much space to run. He only
yeah,
got 4 yards out of that, but I think he was
Hmm.
behind the line of scrimmage, so he got quite a few yards there.
he did.
So for the rest of my man quarterback stats or side now, so it's so stand back. I mean, he had 15 carries for 69 yards. I put in parentheses, nice.
Nice. I thought he
Yeah,
did really
ran
good
for
today.
He did.
yeah. Same from the last game. I thought he had a okay game too.
Yeah.
Right, he hasn't really broken one open for like 30-40 yards yet, but
He had
he's
quite a
gonna
few
get
8 or
there.
9 yard runs.
Yeah, his average was 4.6. So yeah, you would be correct in
Yeah.
Okay, so for the receivers, and this is the bread and butter of the offensive attack. At least I think so far. I mean, considering Keon Hatcher is still injured, Holland and McKinnis stepped up big time in this game. Even though the stats doesn't really seem to show it. I mean, like Holland's, it says he had 8 catches on 11 targets for 97 yards, so very close to 100 yards again. 1 touchdown and 12.1 on average.
That's really good.
What about one of those 3 incompletions? You remember what? One of those incompletions was long pass where he could have got, I think, 40 yards.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh,
and
yeah.
Fulgham had a bad drop too, right? Just
Yeah.
There were
a couple of those.
a number of those today. Number of drops.
Yeah, no, a couple of those pass attempts were with just they kind of were a little too casual about. I mean, they ran the route fine. It's just they couldn't. They just kind of thought about the circumstance of a touchdown over,
Yeah.
actually catching the ball, right?
I feel like they might have overran it, but that was just the difference between us like running away with the game a bit in the second half.
Yeah, the game really should have been open. Well, I mean, if those 2 casual incompletions were caught for touchdowns, if this would have been over much more quickly than or it would have been less tense. Probably, but
Oh yes, it would have been.
Yep.
so yeah, McInnes, he had 4 catches on 8 targets for 91 yards and a touchdown and 22.8 yards on average. So that's
Great game.
awesome. Yeah. Katoy, I he had 1 catch for 10 yards, but I do remember I think he did get injured in the middle of the game as well. It looked like it. I can't remember exactly when it happened, but I do. Yeah, he only had the 1 catch. And of course, I mean, Holland, McInnes, they were the stars of the receiving core, but Fulgham, he only had 1 catch on 6 on 6 targets for 11 yards. I mean, yeah, he dropped an easy, touchdown catch on one of them. I thought he could probably do better than that. Again, I'm rooting for him because I've seen him on the Eagles. So I know he's good. And of course, all of us. I mean,
My man.
I think this is a contender for I think this is my favorite receiver just simply because so far he's had 2 catches and his average must be through the roof.
Oh, I'm sure.
I didn't put the average because one catch for 59 yards. The average is 59 yards, right? But
cannot complain about that at all. That's just
it's just what he does. I remember
that's
last year
just
in
like Hall of Fame
preseason.
level stuff right there.
Yeah, last year in preseason, he made some insane catches. And since we have such good wide receiving depth, he didn't play in the regular season. And I've been saying this could be his breakout year, and he's broken up with 2 catches.
Yeah, I really think he could be a replacement to Brian Burnham, right?
We didn't say his name, Aiden Eberhard.
Yep.
Remember the name.
Remember the name.
Talk about the amount of good wide receivers that have gone through this team throughout the years and the amount of good wide receivers that we've lost. Last season we lost, or this offseason we lost Dominic Rhymes, Lucky Whitehead, Keon Hatcher to injury. So that's 3 top wide receivers. And then the year before we lost Brian Burnham.
One of the
That's
best
4.
of all
To
time.
retirement, yeah.
And
he is missed every day, believe me.
He is missed, and he's still a fan.
miss
We
him.
see him on Twitter rooting on us.
Yeah, he's still rooting for us. I mean, hey, and probably Matthew Betts was rooting for us too in the Toronto game. He was sitting there in the Toronto game. We were just oh, hey, there he is.
I got sad. I saw a few Best jerseys today.
Aw.
However, and speaking of defense, we're gonna get into the defense. I mean, I thought they had a really good game too, right? They did okay with at some points in the last game, but this one they really shined. They had 4 sacks, 1 interception, a fumble, and a turnover on downs near the end of the game. The notable defensive players I want to point out is my boy Laddick, or our boy Laddick had 10 tackles and an interception. He had another incredible game right today.
I was thinking throughout the game he could be player of the game. And I think for me, he was my player of the game. He played really well on defense in the first quarter. And throughout then, he got that fumble. That was just the interception.
Yeah, he had the interception. Woods was the one Woods had 7 tackles and he got the fumble, but he also touched the ball before it went out, right, to counter the fumble, right?
Crazy moment.
I didn't think considering it's been a long time since I remember the difference between the CFL and NFL fumble rules, right? Like,
That was
I,
a brilliant. That was a brilliant play,
yeah.
and with most players coming from the States, most players don't know that rule because under the NFL's rules, that would have been Calgary ball. But under the
Mhm.
CFL's rules, whoever touches it out of bounds last gets it. It's the same rule that applies on an onside kick, actually. So that was really, really smart of him. Rather than trying to reel it in, which probably would have failed, then Calgary gets it. He just knocks it out of bounds. Like that's really good coaching on the part of the Lions defensive coordinator to make sure their players know the rule.
Just
Yeah, I
imagine how the
imagine
crowd
I
erupted.
imagine Ryan Phillips must have been like plenty proud of
Oh
Woods
yeah,
for
absolutely.
knowing that in the heat of the moment, right? Like that,
Yeah.
I give him props for that too. And of course, I mean, yeah, for the defensive tackles, I mean, Archibald had a good game too. He had 2 tackles and a sack, and Covington, I mean, a prized like free agent signing from his NFL experience. He got like 1 sack near the end of the game when it kind of didn't really matter too much, but
Garbage time.
garbage time sack. But he got his first sack in the CFL. I'm happy for him though.
Already saw
You
a few
know,
Covington jerseys. They were selling quite a few of them at the team store. Like they were selling Adams jerseys and Covington jerseys, not much else than like old stock Whitehead jerseys. So we'll see
Ye-
how many other names go through the rotation throughout the year. I'll be checking the team
yeah,
store every
yeah,
game.
yeah. I was gonna say the theme for well, I mean, after the first 2 games, we haven't seen our best team yet, right? Just
No?
I, f- I think we've like yet to have like a completely dominating kind of game on both sides of the ball, right? Like I think we might be due for one hopefully next week, right?
Yes.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean overall, the defense, I think they played one of their best games so far. It's yeah.
Special teams.
Special teams. Yeah, Sean White once again, money in the bank, right? He's 2 for 2 in field goals,
That's 20 field
and
goals in a
one.
row for him now.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
20.
He's got
Yeah, he's got a streak
49, I
going.
think, to break what's his name?
No, 69 is Lewis Ward's
Yeah,
record.
so he's got 49 more to go.
Oh my God, yeah. Okay.
ways
He'll
away.
get there. And then it'll be really nice
And
when he does.
yeah, oh, we don't want
Yeah.
to jinx that here,
Nice.
but um, and well, yeah, he's 2 for 2 on field goals, yeah, and 1 for 3 on extra points. And I remember putting in my game notes, stop with the adventures on extra point attempts, right? It just
Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah, I was thinking like,
two.
what if we lose the game by like 1 point when we had two missed extra points, two
That
blocked
would have
extra
really
points?
stunk.
Yeah, in fact, I remember. I mean, after yeah, the last touchdown was scored, for BC, and then the extra point attempt was blocked, and then like after that happened, I mean, after the commercial break, it went to Bonan Adams on the sideline. He was mic'd up and he said, "But 2 straight extra point attack block, bro." Right? Actually, I want to quote him verbatim here. Hang on,
I don't think it
where is
was,
it?
well, not White's fault for missing the extra points. Just some
No,
good leaps from
no.
Calgary. But I remember on the final drive of the game, they were we were up by 6 points and like they could have got a touchdown to go one up after 7 points.
Yeah,
Would
yeah,
have been a
yeah.
result of missing two.
I'm quoting him verbatim. That's our second blocked kick, bro. I, I,
Man,
I love those kind of mic'd up moments like that after frustrations, right?
he's funny.
I imagine it's going to go in CFL Wild
Oh yeah.
soon, right? So yeah, so I mean, yeah, again, I wish just the extra point adventures would stop. I hope it's it's more normal for next game, but we'll see. Flintoff, the punter, he had 7 punts, averaging 49.4. I mean, he didn't have any rouges this time, I think. I don't think so.
Calgary had a rouge, didn't they?
They did. No, it was BC who did.
Oh,
oh
We
yeah,
were we were
was
down
yeah,
yeah,
7-6, then there was the Rouge that tied at
right,
7-7.
right, 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 right,
they
right. Now I
kicked it. We
remember.
kicked the
Yeah,
rouge or whatever.
yeah.
Mix messed
Thank
up
goodness
one.
I put like the recap, right? Just so yeah. And unfortunately, Terry Williams as the kick returner, he's still not good. He had 4 catches on kickoff returns or punts for 35 yards with an average of 8.8.
Never ends. Never ends.
Just it's gonna be a meme where it's just, we're kind of rooting for him to break off a big one, and it just can't, right? It's just
Oh my God. Last game, he also had an average of 8.8.
Oh wow, really?
Four
yeah.
catches on 35 yards. Same thing.
Wow.
That's but see, this is why, like, in our note sheet, I'm doing it game by game, right? I want to keep the previous game stats for comparables.
Mr. Consistent.
Hey, that's crazy. That's crazy observation there. I didn't even realize that.
I didn't realize
Uh,
it now. I'm like, this is probably just as bad as last game, and it was.
It
okay,
really
so
was.
we got to keep an eye on Terry, Mr. 8.8 average Williams. uh, so that's the Lions stats for the game. So Calgary,
I can run
you
through them
know,
real. I can run through them real
yeah,
quick. Jake Mayer went 26 for 33, really good on passing, 339 yards, 2 touchdowns and a pick. From their rushing stats, Dedrick Mills, 46 yards and 11 carries, and he had 6 catches for 99 yards. Pretty
He played
good.
a good game. I
oh
thought.
yeah, he tore us up.
On
Yeah.
Well, I
the
mean the defense played great, but yeah, he was
on
pretty good.
their receivers, Cam Eccles made 4 catches for 29 yards. Markin Michelle, 4 catches for 11.3 yards a catch. Reggie Beggleton, we heard nothing from him most of the game, and then his first catch was that touchdown in really tight coverage. 2
Yeah,
for
he's like
222 yards
Calgary's.
and a touchdown.
Yeah, he's like Calgary's version of Aberhart, right?
Yeah, pretty
Like,
much. We hadn't seen much from him, and whenever you don't hear his name, you're playing well.
it's,
But of course, he makes a catch for touchdown. So there you go.
yeah, he's dangerous every time, right? Just
And then
I wish
Jalen,
we had him.
me too. And then Jalen Philpott, 5 catches for 56 yards, and then finally Barnes made 2 catches rather for 37 yards.
You want to
And
be good at receiver in the CFL, you got to be named Philpott.
pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, his brother in Montreal had a pretty good game yesterday too, right?
Yeah.
And
I didn't
then
get the stats on that, but
their defense, there wasn't as much. They had no sacks. Hard to believe, and we'll get into that. No sacks,
How?
Mhm.
no turnovers. Uh, there wasn't really a whole lot of notable statistics in their defense, honestly. Judge had 5 tackles. Alway also had 5 tackles. That's about the most noticeable stuff from their defense. And their special teams were uneventful, really. Paredes went 1 for 1 on field goals. He made both his extra points, which
Can I comment on the field goals thing?
go for it.
So BC Place is doing this thing, and this reminds me of Slug the Mug when I go to Vancouver Canadians games. BC Place is doing this thing where if the opponent team's kicker misses an extra point or a field goal, every fan will go home with a free slice of pizza from Pizza Pizza.
the
They're doing that at
Paradise.
BC Place now.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
So you have no
so
pizza.
Paradise is starving everyone in
yes.
Vancouver. Just all 53,000 people.
Yes.
Great.
We would have all got a voucher for free pizza sometime. And that
Aw,
thing went on the Jumbotron. And I'm like, oh my God. Because I think at one point, Calgary turned the ball over at like the 45 or somewhere around there, the 50 or something. And me and James were like, oh my God, he's got to miss the 50-yard field goal because we were going to go home with free pizza. But they didn't. They punted it.
you didn't
So
even
that was a
attempt
running
it.
joke. Yeah. They didn't
That
even attempt it.
sucks.
So that was our running joke all game and was hoping for some Paredes anti-magic, but that didn't happen.
Well, I
No,
mean, Paredes has been around the league forever, right? Like he's a veteran
Yeah.
kicker. I mean, like I mean, just like Sean White. I mean, like it's a battle, or it's like a little mini battle of veteran kickers. But in
Yeah.
the end, White won out in the end, right? But we'll get to that too.
They
So
both
yeah,
got their Grey Cups.
yeah. So Calgary punters, or punter.
yeah, they
Uh,
had 6 punts, averaging 43.2 yards a punt. Really, really good.
Yeah.
Brooks was good on his kick returns. He did 37 yards and 5 returns and 57
averaging.
yards on 2 returns for BJ Emmons. And then finally, one thing we want to get into, the time of possession, Calgary had it for 35-29 compared to 24-31 for BC. That's a 10-minute difference. You don't want to have that. And then the penalties, each team had 8, but the Lions had 103 yards in penalties, and you can't be doing that. That's almost a full length of a football field in penalties, and
Because of
that
misconducts.
cannot be happening. The misconducts really didn't help either. That can't
Yeah,
be
I
happening
mean,
in the long run.
Yeah, you can't be doing that on the road, right? Because you will not get bit lucky when you're playing like that on the road, right?
No,
When
you
you get into
can't.
those kind of penalties. So, I mean, usually a lot of penalties happen to the road teams.
Yeah,
Es-
exactly. So
I mean, especially if it's egged on by the home fan, like, "Hey, give us the flag," right? Just
yeah. So it was not good, and it needs to get better in the future.
yeah, yeah, yeah. The penalties and the time of possession. That's a new addition in the stats page for us that I'm going to keep track of as the season goes on. So yeah. Um. So yeah, that's the that's the main the numerical side of the statistics, and then we'll go through the game as it went. Um. So yeah. So for the first quarter, I mean, I said that BC Place was pretty packed, and unfortunately it didn't last that long because of the 50-cent people. But um, yeah, Williams had a bad return. Well, I mean, he had his best return for 24 yards, like the 40 from where he caught it. Right, that's
Pretty sad.
so. His best kick return was his first catch, right? Just the kickoff. And then I put, and I'm sure, just JS immediately, came to note that the O line's looking horrible for the first two downs already,
It was not good.
for a 2 and out, right? Um, and then yeah, 2 and out, and then after it was punted away, then there was a 15-yard misconduct penalty on the punt, so that
Which you
helped out
can't be
Calgary a
doing that. I
lot.
have no time for those penalties. You cannot be doing any sort of after the whistle shenanigans, completely avoidable penalties that can bite you in the butt. So you can't be doing that.
Yeah, especially early on. I mean, when you're just looking for just some kind of consistency to start the game, that doesn't help.
Mm-hmm.
Uh Fortunately though, Calgary only got one first down out of that, and Robertson, one of our defenders on BC, kind of sacked, just had a sack, and then
So that
um
drive stalled at about midfield.
that's at midfield, and then the Calgary punted to us, and then we had another two and
Beginning was not great.
No.
Very lifeless to
yeah.
watch when you're in the stadium.
I said another 2 and out as Adams nearly sacked on second. I mean, yeah, the defender kind of grabbed Adams' leg, but he kind of threw it away, right?
Yeah.
And immediately I noticed. I mean, he's gonna be, the O line is playing so poorly that it's probably gonna affect Adams' mentality every time he snaps the ball. It's like, okay, I gotta get it away quick, right? Like it's like no faith in the O line, dude, but for
Hence
good
why he
reason.
lied in the interview.
Yeah, he
We're
said.
kidding.
Yeah, he said in the post game interview, like, I gotta buy dinner for the online, and we're like, no, it's the online who should be paying you for the
Yeah,
just
literally.
um yeah, we'll get to like that one play, but yeah, it's yeah, and then on the touchdown drive for Calgary, crossing routes
They
were the
just
name
made
of the
that look.
game
They
for
made it look
them.
easy. It was pathetic.
Yeah, Mills and Michelle was absolutely shredding us for massive yardage, and again, especially on crossing routes for receivers, that was pretty brutal. I mean, again, like, the defense played great, but I mean, again, on the touchdown drive, there was just, it just felt inevitable, right? Uh, but yeah, and then in the middle of the first quarter, I mean, after the touchdown from Michelle again, because he was shredding us along with Mills. And there was another Williams kick return to the 40, and another 2 and out on
When Adams
incomplete.
was pressured on the 2nd and 8, he very nearly took that and just chucked it out of there. Miraculous, he didn't get buried into the turf.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
thinking around that moment because we went three straight 2 and outs. And after the second one is when Calgary got the first touchdown to make it 7-0. And on the third drive, when we had possession, I'm like, we got to get some points here because we can't give them the opportunity to go two scores
constantly
up,
giving them opportunities. Yeah,
which they
yeah, I
didn't.
mean, yeah, they didn't. Yeah, after another 2 and out, and then they well, yeah, they had a 2-0, and then yeah, Williams got the ball, back. I mean, he didn't have a good run back either again, but he did get helped by a no yardage penalty.
Hmm.
Never going to complain about that.
Yeah, 15 yards, pretty good.
And then on the first play of the drive, there was a big catch for first down from Adams to yeah, I didn't put the name here, but I put in first down pass negated by a misconduct penalty. Loud swearing here.
It was
I
Katoy,
was
I
like,
think,
are you
who made
kidding
the
me?
catch, and then there's just a penalty, knocked them back to 50. I was really
Katoy,
mad about that.
So unnecessary.
Yeah, thanks for
Yeah.
covering me for that one, because yeah. But after that, I mean, again, it was a crazy, we thought it was gonna get sacked, but no, Adams used his leg, he escaped a blitz. I put in parentheses, he became Houdini and to get the first down, which I didn't think it was gonna be a first down, because I'm kind of conditioned to believe that if you're that far back and you're running forward, right, I mean, you can probably get 5 or 7 yards out of that crazy roundabout way, right? Just to know he got the first down on it. I mean, yeah, and then JS put in the group chat. I thought it was being hyperbolic. He was saying like, "Oh, this is the worst online game I've ever seen," and I'm saying, bro, we watched like how many games have we watched in the past decade and plus? I mean, we've seen much worse with Mike Riley, right?
And I was like,
overall,
I was like, I don't know.
You
Maybe
only
just
watched last game.
It might have been me just being overly negative, but like, I was not happy to say the least.
I'll bring this back to finish off the first quarter recap. After standing back under the first down, we said end first quarter, bad overall quarter for us. And Jacob, when you texted me at halftime, the first thing I said was the first quarter was obviously terrible, and the first thing you said was O-line is totally ass. So
suddenly,
right there.
I had no other word to describe it, unfortunately.
Yeah,
it's funny because like when the second half and the O-line with the O-line getting better play, I mean, I think they must have heard you and said, "Oh no, we can play better than that," right?
You would hope.
Yeah, I mean, much like Trevor Harris heard me forget about him and try to kill me. It's just we think we have an effect on the game. It's kind of funny how things work out that way, right? That's
It really is.
So yeah, so getting into the second quarter, first play of the quarter, there was a pass interference and Hollins to make it a
And
first
that was
down.
clear and obvious. He
That was
got him like 4 seconds before the ball arrived. You're gonna call that every single time.
Yeah, and then Hollins followed that up with another catch on first down, and then I also put here Adams seems to be rushing his throws because of the O-line being porous. But eventually they get it down to the red zone, and then within the 10-yard line, and then yeah, McKinnis catches a 7-yard touchdown, to make us happy briefly, and then the XP
was blocked.
the XP woes
Yep.
happened here at first, and yeah, it was blocked to keep it 7-6 Calgary. But blah at the end. Yeah.
Then Calgary that was the pat later at the Calgary's next possession. The pass was deflected and the Lions picked it off. That was when we were saying the Lions needed some luck at that point, and they got it. Like, they haven't had a lot of luck this season, but they got it there. Your lucky tip, they caught it.
Yep.
And then on the very next play,
Well, no, I was gonna say, well, before that, Rugamba did sack Meyer on a quick close, but then an illegal contact penalty happened, and then immediately after was Meyer did throw the deflected interception.
that's right, yeah.
Shades of Adams' interception of last game, actually. Wasn't his fault. Just some
This
bad
stuff
luck.
happens
Right?
sometimes.
Yeah.
And then I guess
yeah,
what I wanted to talk about was that challenge that was reversed. Remember, on the Lions had the ball at the Calgary 47. There was a deep pass, and they initially ruled that the Lions receiver's left, or I think it was his right foot, was inbound and his left foot wasn't. I thought it was not a catch, and then they showed the replay, and it turns out that his left foot was down. He caught the ball, then his left foot went down first, and that foot was out. His right foot, which was in bounds, was in the air. So that means he's out.
100%.
And they reversed it, incomplete pass. So then the Lions, as a result, were forced to eventually punt, and that led to the Rouge, which tied the game 7-7.
Yeah, the Rouge was kind of yeah, I mean, it was nice to make up for that missed extra point, but I mean that's kind of like the worst way to make up for a missed point, right? Just yeah, and then I mean Calgary then started to take advantage of the better field position. I mean, there was this time it was a screen pass that burned us for at least 20 plus yards and first down, and the running backs are still killing us. Like it was um and then, well, I mean, the crowd noise was getting louder here too. I mean, Calgary did call a timeout on 2nd and 5 because of the crowd noise. They didn't want to have like a procedural penalty to bring them back to 2nd and 10.
Which I loved. Again, I love that from the crowd, forcing them to do that.
Yeah, Phil Putt had a good catch here too. I mean, he's killing us again with a crossing route catch. I think that's what Ryan Phillips should Ryan Phillips should take a special notice of about crossing routes in terms of how much they've been just burning the secondary here at times, right? There should be some attention to that, right?
Absolutely.
Especially Winnipeg's receivers are especially good at this, right? I mean, even though they're kind of off to a slow start right now, I mean, they're still like the Grey Cup contending team, I'm sure, right? But anyways, yeah, so the Lions defense did hold Calgary to a field goal, thankfully. Calgary went all the way up on to the goal to go, right? Like first and goal. I mean, they stopped them like right there. They held him to a field goal. And the second down was they swarmed the running back, right? They swarmed
Stuffed him.
running back. That was huge. Yeah. um yeah, and then on the Lions, I think this was the Lions' last or second to last drive in the second quarter, and then I noted that Holland seems to be Adams' favorite receiver. I could have also put please pass more to Abraham, but
Please.
yeah, but yeah, Holland seems to be Adams' favorite target here, and it was at this point, and then he targeted him again. I mean, it was like a wide open, like there was nobody within Holland's range, and he kind of just casually, like he was thinking about the touchdown before making the effort to catch, right? And
I think
yeah,
he just overran it.
yeah, he overran it. Yeah, the ball bounced off his shoulder, but I mean, he could have made a move, like move his shoulders to like catch the ball better, like the angle better, right?
Hollins is a good receiver, but I think Brian Burnham would have caught that.
Oh yeah, probably would have done it like one-handed.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What a guy.
So yeah. Yeah, so after the incompletion, they had to punt, and then 2 and out for Calgary after a procedural penalty, and Archibald got a sack here too. So yeah, it was a tit for tat, defensive miscue. Well, no, offensive miscues and just defenses is locking it down here. Just at this point, then I put good field position for BC on the 50-yard line. I mean, considering they were stopped pretty deep, Calgary was stopped pretty deep in their own zone, right? But despite Williams not doing anything on the punt return again, uh, McCannis had a 30-yard catch for first down to start out the drive, which was like, oh boy, whoa. And then then a little bit after, after the O-line made Stanback lose 2 yards on a run, and then Hollins, Adam's new favorite receiver, got the 20-yard touchdown. And yeah,
then we're up.
Actually, this was I think this was also a similar touchdown, kind of like the way it went. Adams throws the Hollins touchdown, and he gets hurt. Adams gets hurt after the play, right? But it was in his chest instead of his throwing hand, right? Like, can you not get injured immediately after throwing a touchdown pass to him, right? Yeah. So yeah, he's fine, right? But we get paranoid about injuries, but so yeah, the defense is looking great in the first half overall, but as soon as I type that because I'm also paranoid. Like as soon as I type something down, just something bad happens. So it's just I say as soon as I type this out, Meyer waits out the defense to hit Philpott for the first down.
Yeah.
But then the defense locks it down again on second down, and then force Calgary to kick a field goal again.
Well, that moment, I remember, like, God damn it, they got Philpott's brother. Both of them are pretty good. So
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so Williams bad punt return again, and I thought he should have let this one go for a rouge. And there was another point in the game where I felt he should have let it go for a rouge too, but I
That was
think
in
it
the
would have
fourth quarter and
been
it was tied. And I
yeah.
said, no, you can't do that. At that point, you're tied and you don't want to go behind. And
Well, it
in
was
the end,
only like a little bit behind, right? Not
well, it would have been
too
1 point behind.
yeah. I don't think it would have been that bad, right? If it was 4 points, however, yeah, no way you can allow a rouge. Yeah. Uh okay, so yeah, I mean, I thought here he could have let the ball go for a rouge here. Because it was only like 40 seconds left in the quarter. I mean, if you let it go for a rouge, for BC's last drive, I mean, it was kind of wasted yardage, right? It was just didn't really go anywhere.
nope.
If you had taken a rouge, it would have been it would have been at the 40, and maybe it would have been like a field goal to end the drive instead of just wasted yardage and risk of injury, right? And then and of course the last play of the second quarter, the O line kind of backed up into Adams and it hit him in his leg, right? Like I thought the O line's trying to kill him there. Just oof.
But we made it through and got to halftime. What was the score at that point? We were ahead 14
Okay.
to 10. We got through
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I should have said the scores, just to keep track, but
14
yeah,
to 10 at
14.
halftime, which, pretty good, all things considered.
Yeah, pretty good. I mean, yeah, well, the last game it was the same deficit, right? But here I think we felt a little bit more better about our chances here than against Toronto, right?
Very true.
So yeah, Hamo did want to do the third quarter analysis just to have his say
Yeah.
more. So yeah.
Starting off the third quarter, I bought some popcorn at halftime. Things were good, up 14-10. Calgary had the ball first. We kicked off. And Connor with a nice special teams tackle at the kickoff. So Calgary strung together a few plays, a few runs, a couple throws, got to second and goal. When Beggleton made a good catch in the corner for an 8-yard touchdown, and the extra point was good. It was a frustrating start to half.
Yeah, that was a really good catch. Like there was
Yeah.
no way you can cover that any better than with secondary did, right? It was even the broadcast said that, right? Like it's annoying.
Right after that, you pointed out Owen Wilson was in the house. They put him up on the Jumbotron. I'm pretty sure they put him up on TSN as well.
Yeah, they did.
Um,
Yep.
and
Wow.
after that drive, most notable play from BC's next drive is that Justin McInnes made a good catch. How many yards was that? 40 plus yards
I
Something
put
like that,
40
yeah.
plus yards, yeah, as an estimate. But
after the
yeah, he caught
cutback.
it.
Yeah, it was a great play.
Yeah, he caught it. He ran, and then he let the Calgary secondary follow him, and then he cut back, and then he got more yardage out of that. Right,
That was really high.
like a zigzag. Right, that's one of my favorite plays.
Couture got injured later on in that drive, so he went missing for the rest of the game. And then was our highlight of the game. Vernon Adams, he passed the ball, deflected off a Calgary defender, and he caught it. Vernon Adams Jr. caught a pass from Vernon Adams Jr. for 4 yards. And then Fulgham had an incomplete pass in the end zone after a deep shot. So Sean White tied the game after a 25-yard field goal.
I put 25.
Well, 25 straight field
I
goals.
thought it was 25 straight. Yeah, not 20.
It wasn't a very long field goal. So that's what I was thinking. Tied the game at 17-17. Eccles with a clutch second down catch for Calgary. They stretched out the drive a bit. Brooks tried to one-hand catch it, but he failed on second down. They made a good catch on third down, but a third down penalty negated the catch by Philpott. So
Yeah, I want
BC
to say
took,
was it holding that negated it? It was either holding or
It was a illegal block. Illegal block.
illegal
It
block.
was
Yes,
blocking downfield
yeah,
before the
blocking
passes. You
downfield.
can't
Yeah,
do that. That pushed them out of
yeah,
going for range, force them to punt, which was great.
yeah. As
yeah,
much as I hate it when BC takes bad penalties at bad times. Calgary did have bad penalties at the worst times on the third down. Right, just um, hmm.
yeah. I'll go back to my point saying the game was close, but it was not too exciting because the next drive from BC was a second and out or 2 and out. So it kills all the momentum we had, all the noise we had in the room. But the O-line did improve in the third quarter. Calgary's run game was killing us a lot. Mills had a great game. He had a 20-yard run in that drive, and then Barnes with a 30-yard catch after a crossing route. And that was the end of the third quarter. The second quarter I noticed was really long, but the third one really breezed pretty quickly. Um, who started with the ball in the fourth quarter? Remember?
It was Calgary who got it. I can go over this. This is kind of something interesting for me. Calgary was forced to punt pretty quickly. And then this is where Ascent and I had the disagreement about whether Williams should have let the punt go in for a rouge. I thought he shouldn't have, and it was, in the end good he didn't. But this was the one drive where BC had 3 separate plays where I thought they were the benefit of, iffy non-calls from the refs. All 3 of them Calgary could have challenged. All 3 of them Calgary would have had a good case to challenge. But in
No, I
this
think
case,
especially the first one. Yeah, just
especially the first one, but all 3 of them they would have had a good case. And Vernon Adams, much credit to him, he hustled and snapped the ball quickly to get the plays off because when the next play is run, you can't challenge it. So often you'll see if the offense is the beneficiary of an iffy call, they'll hustle and run the next play quickly, and that's what happened. So when BC had 1st and 10 at their own 3, Adams threw to Hollins, and he was ruled to toe tap on the sidelines. The replay showed pretty clearly he was out, but the Lions hustled and got the playoff, so Calgary can't challenge it. That's
they
fantastic
should have
game
taken a
management.
timeout, right? Yeah,
Yeah,
they had a timeout in their hand, right, and they could have used it, but
exactly. And then 2 plays later, BC, or the play with Adams threw to Hollins, who it looked like he trapped, or the referees ruled that he trapped the ball with his hands under the ground, but the replay looked like he probably used the ground. So that
it
one,
bobbled a little bit, yeah,
so that
underneath
one
him, right?
probably, there's a good chance that one would have been reversed too. But the Lions ran the next play quickly, so they couldn't challenge. And then finally, BC had a 1st and 10 at their 50. And this was the pass to Eberhardt for 59 yards. It was a fantastic play. But Eberhardt he fell down about
He
10,
rolled,
he
yeah.
rolled about 10, 15 yards before he was called down at the 1. And I thought Calgary could have challenged that too, because it looked to me like he might have, his leg or his arm might have clipped one of the Calgary defenders. And
Before he went
if that's the
from extra
case,
yardage, yeah.
then he would have been down by contact. So the Lions probably got the benefit from that one too. So you complain about the refs, the refs are always out to get you, but in that case, the Lions for sure got the benefit of 2 wrong calls, possibly even 3 on that one drive. But I'm not complaining, we won.
Yeah, one more. No, I would say, yeah, the first one I think it could have been called back, but I think 2 and 3. I mean, they were kind of
It was
in
worth a
con.
challenge at that point in the
With
game.
Yeah, it's worth a challenge. Yeah, at least for the first one, but the second and third, I didn't think. You probably need to throw a challenge, but the first one you should, right? Just
The first one
but
they absolutely should have.
yeah, but yeah. So I mean, yeah, Adams scored on a touchdown. Run in like the easy one, and then of course more extra point nonsense that it was blocked
Oh,
again. And this is where Vernon at. This is where Vernon Adams that I mentioned a quote before, and
you can
but
almost feel it coming.
yeah, during the blocked extra point, I mean, there was also a horse collar uh penalty called on the run back, right? Um, so that tacked 15 yards for Calgary's return team. Yeah, I said that's our second blocked kick throw that Vernon Adams on the hot mic. That's mine. Um, yeah, and then yeah, Calgary had a holding call that brought them back on first down. So. And then Philpott had a long catch that was thwarted by Rugamba. I mean, Philpott had an excellent game, but yeah, Rugamba was able to be there right on time. And then Calgary went for it on 3rd and 6.
with
And
7.5 to go, which was I wouldn't have done that at that point in the game, but they did.
yeah. I mean, Mayo kind of threw it, but yeah, just Barnes wasn't able to like catch it low, right? Because the ball kind of dipped below, and he just couldn't get his fingers underneath, right? Just
Yep.
um, but yeah, BC's offense didn't do anything with it, unfortunately. I mean, that's where I thought they could have iced the game even right there, right?
Oh, it's so many
After that,
chances to do
so
that.
yeah, and then Calgary got the ball back, and then Begelton with a second clutch catch, not for a touchdown this time, but on second and 15. Um, and then immediately followed by a too many men penalty.
Oh,
BC,
that was
and then a
frustrating.
PI call, and it was just like a comedy of errors. I'm like, oh my God. And then we're feeling like, oh my God, Calgary's gonna score a touchdown off it.
Too many
Like
men
they're
was
just
so
gifting
funny
them this, right?
because there was
They're
three
just
flags on the field.
yeah, it was just felt like the defense was just like gifting them this drive, and then yeah. And of course BC called a timeout before the 3 minute warning because they don't want to, have that go away after the 3 minute warning because of that rule, right?
Of course.
And then here is well, you know, this is probably the hugest play. I mean, second hugest next to the later field goal that was kicked, but Josh Woods after
This is right
the
before
ball
the
was
3 minute
pummeled.
warning, the fumble where he knocked it out of bounds, and we talked about that already with his amazing play to know the rule. But I think he deserves
But
credit for that. But we talked about that already. I guess
mhm.
we can just the pass to McInnes. Oh, there was a huge pass to McInnes, but they reviewed it and they rightfully called it incomplete. So then BC got to accept an illegal contact penalty instead. And then eventually they kicked the field goal with less than a minute to go, made it 26-17, and that was all she wrote for that one. The Lions got the win.
Yeah.
White had the huge field goal to really put it out of reach for Calgary. I mean, wasn't really in doubt. I mean, even with all the pauses and, after 3 minutes, like, we knew that Calgary didn't really have much of any
Right.
chance to come back there. Yeah. So yeah,
People were
Lions
leaving,
win.
but there was some game after the 4 minutes when people started leaving the stadium. We closed them out.
We sure did, and for that, we deserve a lot of credit.
We do. And that was a good momentum builder. I think they
Absolutely.
started building that momentum in the second half. You can't say much about the first quarter, but they really started building onto it. And that's when Adams made the
Yeah.
majority of his completions after going 0 for a couple in the first quarter. So
Yeah, I
it's not about how
definitely
you
think,
start, it's how you finish.
yeah, they were definitely playing like they knew that they can't afford to go down 0-2. Going up against a Winnipeg that's also down
Yeah.
0-2, right? And it would be the battle of like two teams that are contenders that are kind of just going, what the hell? Why are we 0-2? Right?
Oh
Just
yeah.
no, not today. Yeah,
Did
that
not
was
happen on that one.
yeah. So I mean, that's the end of the recap. So I guess we'll, you know, for our last part, we'll talk about we'll talk about the implications of the Winnipeg game. I mean, yeah, I mean, we went to 1-1 and they're down 0-2 after losing to Ottawa in a storm delay game against Ottawa.
Yep.
And at the time, we were hoping that that rain delay game was gonna end the game by default, right?
Would have
You
given
know,
Ottawa the win. But in the end, it didn't matter. Ottawa still
yeah.
hung on in the last 3 minutes after the rain delay was over,
Who
and they
played in
got the job
quarterback for
done.
Ottawa? Who played in
Play
quarterback for
quarterback.
Ottawa?
Drew Brown.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
There.
Former Bombers quarterback, right? So
Bit of
that's
revenge.
revenge game for him, right?
I'd love to see it.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I think it's the consensus for all of us that I want to say this, that I think that next week's Winnipeg game it's probably the biggest game of the season for us.
Oh,
I
absolutely.
I I mean, I'm saying that with two more Winnipeg games in the coming months, right? But I think this one especially, just to keep Winnipeg down at 0-3 and have us go to 2-1, it would be a major shift in just everyone's
Man.
predictions, right? I mean,
We don't play Winnipeg again until week 9, and this is a huge make or break moment for our first 8 weeks of the season, including the bye week if there is one. But
it's
yeah,
on
just
the road too, right? So I mean, last year we kicked their asses in our, we beat them pretty soundly in our first game against them on the road, 36, right?
yeah, they
So
don't always get 2 home games against us. Feels like they have the advantage there. But last year wasn't for the first game, so
It's true.
well, yeah, yeah. Last year we had, oh man, I don't want to remember those games. Those were
feels so long ago.
that's but yeah, I mean, we want to, if BC is going to need to clinch home ice, I said home ice advantage.
Home
This isn't
ice.
hockey.
We've watched that sport too much.
Yeah, home field advantage again in the Western Conference Final against likely, I want to say likely Winnipeg, but again, if we put them down 0-3, I mean that's going to put a big seed of doubt in the
Yeah.
fan base's mind, right? Like, are they exhausted? Are they just, uh, uh, yeah. So, yeah, it's just, yeah, we just need, yeah, it's the biggest game for us and in week 3, and it's just, it'll feel like a playoff game for sure. I mean, I do hope we do get some measure of revenge for next week. I mean, of course, of course, week 2 isn't over. Yeah, week 2 isn't over yet. Tomorrow there's Saskatchewan and Hamilton, so we'll be rooting for Hamilton in that one. Right, it's
We
always going to
will.
be East. Yeah. Um. Yeah. So yeah, we hope that Hamilton wins, and then for week 3, um,
Not many relevant games to us. We have we
We've
have
got
our game,
Ottawa,
obviously.
Montreal, which is an all East game, so not super important to us.
Elks
no.
and Argos. Can we all predict how that's going to go?
Yeah, we all know how that's going to go.
Okay.
And then a rematch, Tie Cats and Riders this time in Saskatchewan. That'll be a good game as well. But you know what? All
Oh
in
wow,
all,
2 straight weeks. Mhm.
all in all, good game for the Lions
Yeah.
today. Good week overall for us out of town
Yeah.
squad.
So far, I mean, yeah, I mean, of course, the out of town scoreboard can flip on us tomorrow, but
Of course
like
it can, and it probably
overall,
will.
yeah, overall, the most important losses were the Winnipeg loss and just yeah, the most important loss was the Winnipeg loss so far, and of course, we finally took advantage of Winnipeg losing after being frustrated last week. So hey, yeah,
No complaining there.
yeah, it went well for us this time. So yeah, that's so yeah, I mean, I mean, our episode is kind of going pretty long again, right? But I think yeah, this game, yeah, we're in a much better mood now that
We have
you
more to
know,
say when we're in a better mood.
Better
yeah,
things
we're
to
in a
talk
better
about.
mood. Yeah, our guy Hammer's got like his feet wet in terms of attending
Oh
a
yeah,
game, right?
got this thing. I'm really stoked. Yeah, good memory. Good way to start off the season. I don't think we'll have a better game until the playoff game. So
Probably not.
Yeah, I'm hoping we keep we're averaging at least 25 with 30K fan a home game at least.
yeah,
That's that's Amon's goal, right? Like that's Amon Doman's goal, right? This is the
yeah. Last
yeah,
year's second home game was pretty well attended as well. So
So we can be happy about that.
yes,
I
yeah. There's gonna be a
guess
lot of yeah. I'm gonna keep track of average attendance.
a little
Well,
differently
yeah,
from the
average.
last game, but I think it is good times for the franchise after today's game.
Oh
absolutely.
yeah, yeah. I have never been. Yeah, like the resilience that BC has shown in this game, they could have easily just like when they went down 7-0 in the first quarter and the O line was looking bad, I was getting this sense of dread, but the second half I felt pretty zen. I felt like they could probably win this and they did. So
Not
uh
going to complain. I guess I'd say we can wrap it up. Any final thoughts? Then I'll just go through our contact channels.
um yeah, oh well, yeah, I guess one last thing for me. I mean, yeah, yeah, I'm going to because for the on top BC Lions CKNW show, right, I'm going to listen to them this Tuesday to see what else they have to add for that. Right, I imagine they'll be saying the same, most of the same things that we are, but just more with a lot less time because they always have less than 1 hour episodes for their show, right? And yeah,
I'm sure that they will.
yeah,
We'll get
I'll
there.
yeah, I'll pay attention to. I'm gonna pay attention to them too over the course of the season, and yeah, hopefully I won't have that mishap happen again where I get confused about the location. Right?
There you go.
Yep.
Okay, I guess.
I want to end this off on a final note. I noticed this throughout the podcast. Nice pillow, Ascent.
Oh yeah,
yes,
thank
I
you.
like
Vancouver
that.
Oh
Canucks.
yeah. Oh yeah. I also want to, and before I forget to mention too, I actually I wasn't wearing this jersey for the game. I was wearing a green long sleeve shirt. So I'm wearing this for the recording, right? But I wore a green shirt for the whole game, and I'm thinking, is this Trevor Harris again? Just giving me a mulligan, just giving me a kudos, and like this is your punishment. You have to wear green.
Yeah, we
And
survived.
There you
yeah,
go. Eh?
like yeah, and I imagine Trevor Harris was like happy Calgary lost, right? Like the Riders are happy they lost, right? So yeah, you're welcome, Saskatchewan beanies.
All
Okay,
right.
so
I'll
yeah,
just
let's
outline
plug our
our
socials.
socials.
Yep.
You can contact us at sectionTwofourteen@gmail.com. You can reach us on Twitter and Instagram at section214pod, and we'll be on YouTube at section14 or at section214 BC Lions podcast. And yeah, send us any feedback. We look forward to hearing from you.
Yeah, so yeah, that's and also there's a post on the Reddit too, so that's
Yep.
on the CFL subreddit. I'll post a video up there too. But yeah, that's gonna be it for us today. So yeah, we'll see you on Friday after Winnipeg. So yeah, go Lions.
Take care, everyone. Bye.
Yeah.
Okay, see you around.